Bob, several years ago you won the Eugene Shoemaker Communications Award that the U.S. Geological Survey gives annually to its superior communicators. Working for you, that's the thing I learned most, was the value that you placed on communicating effectively with the public, with decision makers, and with stakeholders. Can you comment on your communications strategy?
Communications has always been extremely important to me, and I think the strategy has to be made up of a variety of pieces. One of them is direct face-to-face communication with interested parties, whether in the universities, whether with state agencies, whether it's with the Congress, whether it's with other agencies, and trying to make the science understandable and to recognize that we can't use the jargon. We've got to get it down to basics and paint a picture for people that they can understand. Another aspect is through written documents, whether in fact sheets or things like web pages. But it's a very, there's a really important point that it took us a while in the USGS to really understand, but which I fought for and argued for very vigorously over many years. In our desire to be better communicators, we were trying to simplify our products to speak to a broader community that didn't necessarily have the in-depth technical knowledge. But in doing that, we sometimes were compromising the technical thoroughness with which we addressed issues. And we were trying to write written products that spanned from the technical to the more lay audience. And I said, no, we can't do that. There will always be and must always be a role for very serious, very in-depth, frankly rather dry technical products that really go through very rigorously describing our methodologies, the theory behind it, the data, and how we analytically got to our answer. And what I told our scientists over and over is, you've got to write those serious, in-depth technical products. Once those are approved and published, then you're liberated. You don't have to explain how you got to that conclusion. You can simply write about what was the conclusion, how did we get to that conclusion, and provide references to the serious technical documents so that the people who want to understand at a deeper level can see that. Another thing that I considered very important, and I was very proud of the accomplishments we've made in this area, is in what I call synthesis products. I mentioned earlier the subject of nitrate in our nation's rivers, and we've told stories in many places. What needs to happen is bringing together those stories and explaining it in relatively simple terms so that people can understand that. Over the last couple of decades, the USGS has put out a series of extremely well-written circulars on the subject of groundwater and understanding the sustainability of groundwater and how groundwater and rivers interact with each other. One of my earliest experiences with these kinds of circulars was a circular on the downstream impact of dams. We had done a lot of research in the USGS, in the Grand Canyon, on the Platte River, on the Chattahoochee River, and a whole variety of places, understanding what the implications are of having a dam in terms of the characteristics of a river, its ecosystem, etc. downstream. And I asked some of our best scientists to get together and write a document that was accessible to the public that would help them understand these issues and the science that lies behind them. And we published that. And these are the kinds of things that I really wanted us to do.